You know, the more I go into this whole Jorobe situation, the more creeped out I get. After I made yesterday's video, which is the video before this, I researched Jorobe even further and found out even more about him, and it's more imperative even now that we make sure that he's never allowed within 300 feet of any school or little children's playground. Now, before we get started, viewer discretion is advised. We are going to be talking about grooming. What has come out since the last time I made a video? Well, hold on. Let's recap what happened first. Papa Gut called me a few days ago saying Jorobe has been exposed for being a groomer. I wasn't surprised, but, this was coming out and it was big news because he was a pretty active voice in the activism community. And apparently he was giving his take on social issues when he had issues of his own, and he really needed to figure those things out. He's been accused of a lot of things that have been covered beforehand, such as trauma dumping on minors, grooming minors, trying to get them to go to an Airbnb and get under the influence of alcohol with him. He's also been accused of telling his underage Discord mods and asking them, "What are your kinks? Take this BDSM test." Man, some of my fans didn't even know what BDSM is when I was talking about it on stream. And the fact that this guy was trying to give his underage mods the test, dude, I didn't know what BDSM meant until I was 18. I didn't know what it meant. No joke. I'm not kidding. If you guys want to reference back to these victims of Jorobe's stories, I encourage you to go to this TikTok account, DillG16, and this account, 1MelinaG_. They talk about it. They shared their experiences with Papa Gut, and thankfully Papa Gut and Dylan and Melina all put out videos that have gained traction and exposed Jorobe for the freaking creep he is, bro. But let me tell you something. Warning. It's getting worse. More people are coming out about Jorobe. Jorobe was found out because all of these TikTokers that were in the, kind of Gen Z for Biden, Democratic, liberal TikToker arena were all coming out, and they were all making vague videos saying, yeah, I was groomed by a TikToker that had a lot of followers, and he used that to kind of have power over me. But they were never name-dropping Jorobe because they were scared. But then they all got together and were like, "It's Jorobe you're talking about, right? It's Jorobe, right?" And they were like, "Yeah, that's it." So, this is not just some coincidence. He repeatedly did this with multiple people. And now we're learning even worse information. I'm going to show you guys something that is just absolutely disgusting that a user sent to Papa Gut over Instagram DMs. Everything was fine for a while, but conversations got really weird, and he sent me a lot of dirty pictures. After he sent the first, he would just snap me all day showing his dick, even when we would have normal conversation. He said he would handcuff me to his bed and ask me if I was a bottom. Luckily, I'm not as naive as a lot of people my age. I immediately started screenshotting most of these pictures without him knowing I was using a hack. I was also 14 at the time. He didn't even bother to ask how old I was or any form of identification, but he would call me baby a lot and would try to force me to call him daddy. I'm sending you this and the screenshots, nothing else. So, yeah, at first I was a little skeptical of that story, as I am with a lot of stories, because I am a firm believer in innocent until proven guilty. I still do believe in that. However, it's really hard to disprove this when they show the screenshots of Jorobe, and you can clearly tell it's him. I have censored pictures. I didn't ask Papa Gut for the uncensored pictures because, frankly, I don't want to see that because that's gross. But there are censored pictures of Jorobe showing his bulge and fully exposing himself to, this was a 14-year-old. Now, I don't know his side of the story. I'd be interested to hear his defense for this. But the fact that he was doing this to just some random fan page makes me really scared of what he's done to other people that haven't even come forward yet. This guy had 4.5 million followers on TikTok. He had a lot on other platforms as well. And the fact that he was giving out a Snapchat saying, "Shh, keep it a secret between me and you, and don't tell anyone what we talk about, shows how deep this manipulation goes from him. Something even more concerning to me, we take into consideration what we just saw, the screenshots, the texts, the conversations, what we've talked about in the video beforehand about what he did to the TikTokers and moderators that he had, is what he does in his real life. Well, how about we take a look at what he works at in real life? He works at St. John's Lutheran Church. Now, he works as a finance and office manager. I thought this was very interesting because what happened is I have a friend, and she sent me a message after I posted the first video and said, yo, what all did he do? And I told her what all he did. And she said, well, I live next to Fargo, and that's where he works with youth groups. And I said, what? I was like, what, youth groups? And she was like, yeah, that's where he works with youth groups. I have a friend, and he had John Jorobe. He works in his church, and he sometimes does stuff with the youth group. And I was like, we need to call that church. We need to find the church that he does that stuff with, because this guy's dangerous. Okay, I am not a fan of getting people removed from their job because of something that goes on in social media. However, I am a fan of getting somebody removed from their job if they're a danger to children and they're actively working with children. That's when things become a problem. So, conveniently, this is the church's number and email right here. What? Yeah, it's right there. I've called them. Papa Gut's called them. A lot of other people have called them. Maybe you guys should call them too. I don't know how long they will listen. As a Christian, I am deeply, deeply disappointed if this church does not do anything about it. Too often, churches push down victims of sexual assault and disregard sexual assaulters, and I hope they don't do that this time. So St. John's Lutheran Church, when Jesus talks in the Bible about caring for people, it talks about in James that you should care for orphans and widows, because that's true religion. I would urge you guys to be truly religious, help people that are in need, and these kids are in need. They're in need to get away from this guy because they're in danger. And if this church keeps kids in danger, I would really question how Christian you guys actually are. Okay? So, they have his biography here. On the church website, and I found something else. He's a private music teacher with over a dozen students in flute and piano, so he has kids over at his house all the time. He's a teacher, and then that's another thing that I see as very dangerous. If he has this kind of behavior with other minors, I can't imagine what he's doing with students. He was also a activities chair for the Northern Sky District of the Boy Scouts of America. Woo, really checking all the boxes here, Jorobe, for being a predator. I was an Eagle Scout, if you guys don't know. I am an Eagle Scout. And we all know that the Boy Scouts and some of their leaders take advantage of their power and use it to groom minors. So obviously, we don't know what he's done in the Boy Scouts. We don't know what he's doing in the church. We don't know what he's done with his piano and flute students. However, we need to let people know about what we know, what the facts are about what he's done on TikTok, online, with minors, so we can keep people in his actual life that he's physically interacting with safe as possible. And I would encourage you guys to do that. I would encourage you guys, if you ever come into contact with this guy, to, number one, run away screaming. But if you can't do that, just limit interaction with him if you live in that area. Because until we figure out this guy, he's dangerous. So that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to make you guys aware of that. I'm sure there's more coming. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more developments in this never-ending web of stories that are coming out about this guy, and it's creepy. And it's a lesson to you guys that you need to stay safe on the internet. Please, please, please stay safe on the internet and in real life. Please. Okay? Know the signs if you're getting groomed. Once again, I'm going to leave a link in the bio. Signs of grooming, warning signs of grooming from rain.org. Refer back to Papa Gut's videos and streams that he does about him, because he's the guy that has made a lot of these developments. And check out the TikToks that I put at the beginning for the story of how he interacted with people and the TikTokers beforehand. Thank you guys for watching, and stay safe out there, guys. Peace.
You should be ashamed of yourselves. There are 3-year-olds that exhibit more compassion and empathy than you do. And look deep down inside and really ask yourself why you find so much joy out of other people's pain. And when you figure out the answer, you should talk to somebody, because being the plague on society that you are can be fixed. Be better.